This is an Asian pear. I don't know what variety it is, but there are a couple of things I want to point out with it. First off, when it flowers, this is what it looks like. Then those flowers turn into fruit if it's been pollinated. And you can see here, there are clusters. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 fruits, but if it turns yellow like this, if you just touch it, it'll fall right off. That's the nice thing about Asian pears, is that they will self-thin. You don't have to come in here and touch these things to make them knock off, but you'll have a cluster of like 5, 6 at the ends of each of these flowering groups, and then it will thin itself down to a couple of them. I mean, look at this. There's tons of them on here. Something else that I really wanted to point out. If you look here, see this little tip that's down there? If I zoom in, so you can see at the ends there, this was a cluster that had a bunch of flowers on it, but now there's no fruit on it. So not everything that flowers turns into fruit, which I think is important to know. But there is a lot of fruit here. I have hundreds and hundreds at the ends of all of these little nodes that are coming off of these thin little branches. And that will break the branch unless it thins down, which it tends to do on its own. And a lot like an apple tree, which I will show you here in a minute, the Asian pear does the same type of thing. Before we shift over to the apple tree, I wanted to show you a couple of things that I did, and that is here, these grafts. This is a Shinseiki pear, Asian pear graft that I did. 2 right here, both of them were able to make it. Let's see if they do make it in the long term, but that is a good sign if there's growth here. Around the outside, I have another grafted variety. If we zoom in there, you can see that it's green. That's a good sign. Hasn't leafed out yet. I mean, it's leafed out underneath, but it hasn't leafed out of the paraffin part. Up here, we have another graft that took, which is really exciting. This is the Housi, H-O-S-U-I. I'm totally butchering that name, but that is the same variety there as it is here, and down here, and over here. This also has leafed out. So that's a good sign. Pears and apples, I think, are pretty easy to graft. I've had a hard time with some apricots and plums, but that's not what this video is about. We're going to shift over to the apple tree now. Here's the Fuji apple tree. Hopefully the wind is not getting picked up in this video, but if it is, I'm really sorry. Fuji apple, you can see here with the flowers. They're at the ends, and they're grouped together. There's about 5 or 6 of them there. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to fruit. Again, it could fruit set, and you could get 5 apples at the end there, but that's not ideal because you want the fruit to grow relatively big. So if I find a cluster here, which is right there, right in the middle of the screen there, if you see that cluster, there are about 3 pieces of fruit there. There's another cluster with 3 pieces of fruit, and the apples, at least on this Fuji, grow at the very ends of the wood. The Gala apple tends to fruit and flower more towards the middle of the branch. So I will get a good amount of fruit this year. Last year I got no fruit. The freeze took them all. We had a very late freeze and took everything. Beyond that, here are the grafts that I did. This is one of the grafts. This is the pink pearl apple. You can see the growth all along the tip there. Here's another graft. It is green, just hasn't broken out. Well, no, that has broken out. Yeah, buddy. So that graft has worked. Here's another. There's the smokehouse right there. See how it broke? And there's another smokehouse graft that has broken. So I'm 100% successful on the Asian pear and apple grafting. If I look here in the middle, that branch is the graft for a Gala. And you can see that all the way at the top there, it has broken dormancy. I want that to be my main branch, my primary branch of this tree, so that I can get fruit going out to the side. So that will be a fun experience. If we look here, this is the Dorsett golden apple. That graft also took. There's another one right there, Dorsett golden. You can tell the leaves are different in shape and color compared to the native here versus that. It's a little bit more rounded and shabby edges. More fruit growing on the apple. The downside to apples, I'm okay with the flavor. I like eating apples. I like when they're crisp. Downside with this fruit tree in general is you got to water it a lot. This tree loves water, unlike other trees. The Asian pear doesn't need to be as watered as much as this guy. I'll put at least an extra 20 to 30 gallons of water just for this tree. But I love both of them. I enjoy apples. I enjoy Asian pears. I think they're both great trees to have. They're both crisp, they hold on the tree well, and they produce a good amount of fruit when they fruit, if they're not frozen. So I hope this video is beneficial for you. Get some of your own apples and Asian pears and do some grafting. Have some fun with it, especially if you're limited on your space. Have a stellar day.